Oh, yeah. Welcome out. This is the Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Liberation Media. In case you didn't know, I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, coming to bring you that boom bap breakfast. Yes, us, not just me holding the D. My whole crew is coming through B, and that's just how it gotta be. Let me introduce you to the brethren them called Evan. And she come through romping and stomping. They call her Renee Johnson.
What's up? I'm
gonna work on something for you, Evan. I know you my brethren and everything, but it ain't romping and stomping like Renee Johnston.
Nah. You know, you've had more time to work on it. You know what I'm saying? So, it's okay. I'll be patient.
I get it together. You know. How everybody doing? Y'all looking good? Well, Evan.
Always with the jokes. Always.
I be forgetting sometimes. That's your shadow silhouette there is not you, but it's you.
It does.
I mean, it is me.
It does. Like I think that is why it's confusing, because the silhouette
actually
is you. Yeah, it is actually you. So people get confused. Like, I know that's you, but you're not on video.
Yeah, that's all. But yeah, we're here. We just came back from a long week. It's good to see y'all. I'm sure y'all have been productive and got some things done in y'all life. What about you, Evan? What productive things have you done over this last week?
Well, productive. I was working all weekend, so that was productive. But I do want to highlight some activity that Pan-African Community Action Pocket got into on Saturday. So
okay.
Let me go ahead and share my screen on this.
Oh, so, you ain't playing. You getting right into
it. This is a brief little detour.
Evan is not playing, y'all.
Brief little detour. Advocates call for the end to DC curfew. Say policy targets Black youth. I'm just going to read a little bit and then I'll play the video. But a group of DC residents is asking the district's youth curfew be allowed to expire. And they have a pretty straightforward message about why. They say this curfew is ineffective and that it targets and criminalizes youth, specifically Black youth. Just for awareness, DC is currently considering an extension to a curfew that restricts anyone under 18 to be out in the district between 11 and 6 a.m. But this past weekend, Navy Yard's curfew starts at 8 p.m. And this is set to expire on the 15th, but it's going to be put to another vote on the 21st. And of course, to no surprise, the fact that there is that gap, DC Mayor Muriel Bowser has already urged the council to extend it, get on the vote, right? Saying that they're weak on crime. So yeah, I'll just play this quick video so you can see what Pac was up to.
To extend a youth curfew that's expiring this Wednesday, but many people are split on what the city should do. I want to start tonight with News 4's Drew Wilder joining us live there in Navy Yard. And Drew, it's our understanding that this rally is being held for people who are calling on city leaders not to extend the curfew, correct?
Yeah, that's right, Mauricio. So this is a group of DC residents asking that the curfew be let to expire, and they have a pretty straightforward message about why. They say that this curfew is ineffective and that it criminalizes youth, specifically Black youth. DC is currently considering an extension to a curfew that restricts anyone under 18 to be out in the district between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. But this weekend, Navy Yard's curfew starts at 8 p.m. The emergency legislation that enacted this curfew is set to expire on the 15th. DC's mayor has urged the council to extend it. The council delayed voting on the matter, Mauricio, as you mentioned, coming up in 10 days now. But tonight, the Pan-African Community Action Group is calling on DC Council to end the curfew, saying the policy targets and criminalizes Black youth.
we're challenging the idea that our youth need criminalizing, and that they need to be contained or told where or where not to be. I mean, if you look behind us, or if you walk around Navy Yard, you see how beautiful it is. I live in Southeast, and there's nothing like this in Southeast. This is like a human playground. So it's obvious why the youth want to come out here, because it's beautiful. You can have a good time, live bands. So telling them they can or cannot come out here to us is just trying to contain them from being able to enjoy the things that are developed, because they're not developed for them.
Proponents of the curfew say the curfew is meant to prevent youth takeovers and keep neighborhoods safe. The curfew goes back into effect here in Navy Yard in less than 2 hours, 8 o'clock tonight, Mauricio.
All right, Drew Wilder, live for us.
All right, that's enough. But yeah, so that is what Paca was up to this weekend on Saturday. Wanted to shout my comrades out. Shout out to G, as you saw in that interview. Shout out to all my other Paca comrades. But yeah, we can talk more about it. But, Paca took that opportunity to call it that contradiction, right? That DC, this is where we live here. You know what I mean? We're from here, right? Our kids deserve to be out and about, right? And it's not even, I think there is a narrative around like there's not enough for them to do. There are not enough services. All of that is true, right? They do need more activities, more services, and don't want to allow for them to frame the discussion entirely, right? From jump, there's no reason that young people can't be out, right, enjoying themselves, enjoying public spaces. Like the fact that in and of itself is problematized is an issue, right? And the fact that criminalization obviously is a response is a larger issue, right? But we don't want to even allow for that framing to kind of stand. So shout out to all my comrades in Paca, and yeah, just wanted to highlight that for the weekend.
Yeah, hopefully give them kids something to do, because if this was the 80s, we would have been out there with a ghetto blaster, cardboard, and breakdancing and just being, loud. But now I guess they get out there, nothing to do. They on their phones. They see somebody from another hood, and it might go down. So
I mean, that is the narrative. I will say though, this is like those interactions, right? Those like potentially violent interactions, like that is very much a minority. You know what I'm saying? Most of these kids are just out here chilling, enjoying themselves, as you or I would have been. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like I was 16 once, right? Hanging out, you know what I'm saying, in DC, right? So like, I want to, yes, these things can happen, right? But the broad majority of these young people are just out here enjoying themselves, chilling, right? Yes, they need things to do.
Yeah, they need something to do.
But again, they can be in public spaces, right? There's no reason why young people can't just be out and about at 8 o'clock, right? Like, so I just want to make sure that we're not first.
Well,
people act
quick,
like. Go ahead.
Real quick though, I'm just curious, like, why isn't hanging out with your friends at 8 o'clock in an open public space something to do? Like, why is that not considered something?
Well, let's take this scenario and go to Chicago. Let's go to O Block. Roll up, and you see another person out on the corner, and what's going down. So if they ain't got nothing to do, then what they gonna do? They gonna find some shit to do. They might wild out. They might see somebody they don't like,
or they might just hang out and share bullshit on Instagram and do dances. And like, that's a really broad assumption that like
it's a broad assumption thinking that they ain't gonna do nothing. Like the world is safe and the kids ain't wilding out like they never did. Right? You just I mean, no violence, no nothing, because I just coming from.
But there's I didn't say no. I didn't say no. I said, is it not also something to do to just hang out in a public space with your friends and bullshit? That's all I'm asking. Like, this assumption of you have to give them something to do assumes like them just hanging out with their friends in a public space and not creating a chaos is not something to do. It is something to do. You're hanging out with your friends. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, I think sometimes we say things like, and I've also said it, like, give them something to do and not realizing like they're people. Maybe there's something to do is just to hang out with each other and do nothing. Like, just be around each other.
I don't know. I've been hearing the other week how all the kids tweet, we're going up to Atlantic Station, and then they all go up there for something, and then somebody gets shot. It's been happening like on a regular. It's just like, damn, every time it's a meetup with a lot of these kids, they don't got nothing to do. Somebody pulls out a gun and something happens. This ain't even just me just coming up with stuff. I could go look at the news right now. I'm not saying we shouldn't be able to have, we shouldn't be able to gather, but I'm just saying we need something. We need to give them something to do.
I understand what you're saying. So the last time, right, you said the thing in Atlantic, right? We discussed this, I think, the last week, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the only time that the kids have got that they've, like, a large group of kids have gathered somewhere in Atlanta?
Just to hang out and do nothing?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. That's one of the places they do it at. They say we going up to this spot.
So every time they do that, someone gets shot?
Not every time, but
okay, so that's my point.
It's always right? A big fight. So what's the point, that it doesn't happen?
No, the point is we can't predict what's going to happen. And just simply saying that kids getting together is going to result in somebody getting shot is also inaccurate. My point is that we, just like over the weekend, a bunch of my high school friends and our families got together, right? Mm-hmm. It was like 25 of us. Everyone had kids. All the kids had not met previously, but they all went and they hung out in one space and did whatever they were doing, playing balloons and whatever games they decided to play or whatever, right? And so their choice in that moment, and these are all teenage children, was to bullshit in the room together, right? They didn't do anything. Sometimes I drop my child off, him and a group of his friends, they go bullshit, they get something to eat, they go walk around, they wander, and then he calls and says, I'm ready for you to pick me up, right? So what I'm saying is it's not easily predictive. So just to say, like, automatically, if a bunch of kids get together in a space, something bad is going to happen, is the same false pretense of saying, like, you have to give them something to, like, giving them something to do is like you're trying to preempt something that you don't necessarily know is going to happen. The problem is that there are too many things that promote and give this false sense that, like, violence and guns and all these things are like the way to go, right? So all I'm really saying is you don't necessarily have to give children a thing to do, because kids are perfectly content to sit together on their phones and share their Instagrams and dance and do all the crap that they do, and that doesn't always result in violence. So I'm simply putting out there that there's something wrong in the way that we're trying to address this, because there is no way to determine to say, like, in advance, okay, this group of kids is going to get together and someone's going to get shot. This group of kids is going to get together and nothing's going to happen. This group of kids are going to get together and they're going to go viral because of whatever dance they come up with. Like, there's no way to preemptively decide what the result is going to be, which means that we have to, as a society, change the way we deal with children, because I think that's the larger issue.
All right, well, let's get another perspective of Kim Brown.
Well said, Renee. Well said, Renee.
See, Evan just jumping right into this. We didn't even get to say hey to everybody. Evan wouldn't even let people come into the room, and he started.
But Kim can participate in the "How was your weekend" conversation now.
We on this now. Evan done started it.
He done started it.
Yeah, we can't even go through around the room. He pulling up videos and
How you doing, Kim?
Good. Can I throw in my 2 cents into the well?
Go ahead.
By all means.
So, per the story that Evan brought up over the weekend, the kids was hanging out. DC police made 4 arrests, I think, for either curfew violations or disorderly conduct. And I was thinking, It was probably way more than 4 kids down there, right? Probably way more than 10, probably way more than 40. So it was loads of children down there. Y'all made 4 arrests. How many police were down there to make 4 arrests for disorderly conduct? My point is the majority of the kids are not out here wilding, right? They only had to deal with four children, and I'm sure them kids was just probably a little mouthy. I'm probably sure they didn't do anything, right? They were just telling the cops where they could go and what they could go do. But so the majority of the kids are not wilding out. So why do we have this bloated response, especially a police response? Why are we sending the cops out there to deal with children?
Because the cops are the people that are making sure that the rich stay rich and they're secure and safe. That is their job. So therefore, if they don't feel secure and safe going around and down to these parks with a bunch of kids, that's what they're going to do. And let's stop acting like that's not their job and that's what they're going to do.
But we stand against their job.
Right.
Exactly. But where are we at?
Right now?
I get so confused.
We're in America.
I'm in Brentwood. Where are you? I'm sorry.
America. That's what cops do here in America.
Okay.
So we got to give our kids something to do. That's all I'm saying.
But I'm with Renee. I mean, hanging out with your friends is something to do.
It is. Yeah, we used to go to the mall, a little more contained and safe.
The mall used to go down to the inner harbor and walk around. Baltimore doesn't like the kids down there either. Anywhere where the fun shit is in the city don't want the kids to be down there. Now riddle me that. Right. And I can't stand that for the kids. I remember when I was in Chicago a couple summers ago, loads of children downstairs. I'm downtown. I remember with this one young man, he bumped into me and he was so sweet about it. He was like, "Oh, miss, I'm so sorry. My bad. I didn't mean to bump into." This must be these wild children I keep hearing about in Chicago. These very polite and deferential and well-mannered kids.
I don't know. I remember last time I took my daughter to the Westlake against another rival school football game. It's like 2-3 fights. Just it's certain places I would be like, nah, you're not going.
But guess what, ear doctor?
In those gatherings, because I already know that those kids gonna get to fighting. And that's what we do.
The white kids fight too.
We're not talking about the white kids. We're talking about us.
But it's all kids, though. You know what I'm saying? It's not particularly unique to black children showing up to a football game and fighting. The white kids definitely get to scrapping at the football games.
100%. 100%.
I don't go to white school, so I can't talk about them. So, I'm not. That ain't got nothing to do with us right now.
I'm telling you, 100% it happens. So,
right.
But we talking about us.
That's not even a question.
And you know what, ear doctor? Yeah. Because since you're using these references, right? Mm-hmm. Because of the way our youth are criminalized, right? Because of the way race operates in this country, you're not going to see any groups of white children getting into the chaos that they tend to get into, right? You're not going to see that on the news, right? The narrative that's constructed for you is going to be whenever these black children get together, and you know how they love to kind of carry over like these slave laws of like, if it's 3 or more, 4 or more, right? You know what I'm saying? Then there's an issue, right? So again, disassociating ourselves from, what the state is saying, right? The thing that you did say that I do agree with you, your doctor, right? This is the last thing that you said. Yes, that is what the police do. That does not mean that we should cede the space, right? That does not mean that we're not supposed to, fight for, control of our communities, right? Such that our children can be out and, and be young people, be children, right? There's a point around spaces, right? Things for them to do. There's a narrative of to do, what to do. And I think that is, we need to problematize that, right? Because this whole narrative of things to do, right, is implicitly constructed around, what a society thinks a young black person should be doing. So I want to get away from that. But it is true that these third spaces, right, these recreational spaces have been closed, have been defunded, right? And we can have a conversation about that, right? And capitalism, right? And all of these forces that have produced that situation. But despite that, right, these are public spaces, right? Young people can be in public spaces, right? And there will be nothing wrong, right? When we see these things happening, right, it is cops rushing into crowds of children, and then chaos ensues, right? As we know, cops are the ones that are going to bring the chaos, going to bring the violence 9 times out of 10, right? Not saying that youth don't have conflicts with one another, right? But that is by no means characteristic of how our youth are, for one. And two, we do not want to, create the assumption, right? The perception that these youth curfews have anything to do with what we would understand as intercommunal violence, right? The youth curfew in DC, the most recent amendment, right, to the Juvenile Curfew Act, which was from 1995, that recent amendment happened in November of 2025, and it authorizes the curfew age was increased by 1 year to apply to people under 18, and the general curfew hours of 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. on weekdays were extended to apply on weekends, right? How did that happen? It happened because the Black woman police chief, in her own professional experience, advised it. There was no data put forth, right? There was no information around where is crime happening, quote unquote, and who is unsafe and who's getting hurt. None of that, right? It was because this Black woman police chief was able to say in her personal experience, I think this is what should happen, and that's what happened, right? And now the retroactive excuse is that our kids are out of control, right? So this is what the state does, right? It does what it wants to do, and then it creates a reason for it. It propagandizes us through the news, right? And then we have our own people saying those kids out there, they're acting too wild, they need something to do, right? And the only response we're going to have is cops and curfews, right? So we have to deconstruct all of this stuff, right, to get to like the root of what's actually happening, right? And stop pointing this to our children, right, as if they're the problem.
So do you feel that kids shouldn't have any curfew?
You just went so like around the bend with that.
I asked the question: should our kids have a curfew?
I mean, that should be decided in your house, no?
Yes, their parents should decide their curfew.
Not everybody got parents in their house. Might have a grandparent. Might have everybody ain't the same. Everybody ain't suburban kids, but should kids have a curfew?
What does that have to do with anything? When I was growing up, I had a curfew. I wasn't a suburban kid. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Did you have a parent?
You know what? I just remember. I'm not doing this for you, Evan. I had a question for you because he almost did it to me again. You see how easy that worked?
I see it happened. He gets you. He gets you real quick.
Me.
I think I was getting into trouble when it was late night hanging with my boys. I should have had a curfew. But continue.
And you had parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but we was told we was getting into some wild shit though. That was what I'm saying. Late night. That was what
had mama and daddy at home.
Right. So my question for Evan, because you said it about the data, and this was actually what was in my mind, was I was curious if there had been any data studies to show like who, when they decided these things was, obviously we know why they decided it, right? Mm-hmm. But like the largest brawl that happened in New Jersey in recent years, it was a bunch of white kids in a white mall, right? And so I'm trying to understand if there's been any attempt to collectively utilize data to show that these rules that are being put in place are literally being put in place just to criminalize the Black children. Because DC is yes, it's a relative. I mean, there's definitely more white people out there now than there used to be. So I'm just curious if these rules are being put in place. If anyone's looking at the data to see specifically the numbers of, are there white areas where these rules are being put in place? Are there places that are heavily used by white children where these rules are being put in place as kind of a perspective to show? So this is not actually about teenagers. So let's be. Am I making sense? Like, I'm just curious.
If I understand what you're saying, then no, right? Like these zones are including places like Navy Yard, Waterfront, U Street, Banneker, Chinatown. These are places where young Black and brown children hang out generally. Not to say that there aren't white kids there, but there's no data on the front end, and on the back end, right? It's all the data is going to disproportionately say that they're in Ward 7 and 8 picking up Black and brown children. So like in terms of the back end, like that's what it's going to show, right? Because that's who they're targeting. But do want to, so like that is, I think, the way the data is being used on the back end, right? But I do want to highlight the fact that Ear Doctor said something right of like where the parents are, right? And I think that is also worthwhile to ask, right? Parents, because of the system that we live in and because of society, the way the society has been constructed, probably working 2 or 3 jobs. You know what I'm saying? They're overworked, so they can't even spend time with their children, right? And Ricky is in here going off, right? But mention, and I've heard her mention this before, also on the Remix Morning Show, about the fact that like we all deserve nice spaces and places to be, right? And leisure time, right? The fact that our children are being targeted in this way, right, and that they can't have it is also a reflection of the fact that like we are not allowed to have it. We are not allowed to have nice things and places to be and spend time with our children and our nieces and nephews and the young people that we love in our lives, right? And we're too busy having to go work 2 or 3 jobs, you know what I'm saying, because of the way the society has been constructed, right? So like this is all, right? None of these problems are separate. These are all related issues, right? Related to the political economy that we are living under and the way the society has been constructed as a result. So yeah, just wanted to highlight that as well.
Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show, everybody. I'm the Air Doctor. That's Burning Down Kim Brown. That's Evan, and that's Renee Johnston. And we are getting into it. How was your weekend, Renee? I see you had what was it, 2 Black on?
Yep. Wait, was that this weekend?
I think that was last. I thought that was
last weekend.
Oh,
this weekend, it was. Wait, we pre-recorded, and we pre-recorded with FD Signify.
That's right. Y'all brought him back, or that was the first time?
No, so back, and there was, you know, we had a discussion because there was a small matter of what's the word? There was a communication issue that I took issue with, and that we were able to rectify, which I truly appreciated. And so it was rectified, and we had a really good conversation about politics and them exiting, and a really fascinating half conversation about, like, you know, this trying to navigate these YouTube streets as, you know, as a person in the trappings of those things. So we're gonna have to continue that part of the conversation, because that part was also fascinating, and we didn't have time to really dig into it.
That's good, because a lot of y'all intellect's egos get in the way of when it comes to unification. So I'm glad y'all was able to put that to the side, come together, because we got to fight. Kim Brown, what's good with you? How was your week?
It was fantastic. Started my garden.
What are you growing right now? Or what are you focused on growing right now?
I just started a bunch of seeds. I started a bunch of pots. I started everything from seed. So I've got a couple different tomatoes, you know, herbs, cilantro, parsley, sage, thyme, trying to grow some lavender, some anise.
Oh, dang.
I got squash. And now listen, just because I got it in a pot don't mean that we will be yielding a bounty at the end of the season. I'm still very much a novice gardener. So my goal is to grow something and to be able to eat something and pull it out of the dirt. So got my seeds, got my dirt, got my pots. We rolling.
Okay. All right. Good. And did we do Luther last week?
We did.
Yeah. Big up to all the people that came and watched Luther. Had a great time. So
it was great.
Yeah, and make sure y'all come this Thursday for Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan.
You know she hates that, by the way.
I'm sure she does. I'm sure she does. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And guess what's happening today at 3:00, y'all?
Oh, that's right.
5-year anniversary, 50th anniversary. It's a celebration, bitches. That's right. We're gonna be doing it right here. So make sure y'all come back 3 p.m. We are celebrating 5 years of this platform, Black Liberation Media. So we got hosts coming through. We got, you never know who's gonna come through. So yeah, come do that. So it should be good.
Yeah, we're gonna reunite all the owners, all the original owners.
Yeah, we're gonna do something like that.
Where's the nigga Kamau? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that out loud.
He said he gonna drop in. He gonna drop in for a minute. Yeah, yeah. So other than that, I had a nice weekend, since y'all asked. I went to this I went to this place called Triller Studios here. It's a big movie production studio, and it was almost like joining a cult. They was telling you about Christianity and how they believe in a certain thing and why they built this place. And I learned that you don't go to these studios on the weekends. You go on the weekdays when there's actually people on set. So we're just driving around looking at empty warehouses and stuff on this little moped thing or whatever. And yeah, didn't really get to see much, but I did get to stand with the Incredible Hulk. They do a lot of Marvel stuff there, so it was all right.
They only film Monday through Friday. That's interesting.
Yes, ain't that some crazy shit? I'm like,
yeah.
damn, they on their own schedule, but But my daughter had an art show. It was very, very nice. She had 3 pieces of art on the wall. Everybody was talking about the art she did. She did one piece that was talking about deflowerment.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was a piece of losing that part of being a young girl and worrying about, damn, everybody's pushing me to be older. Everybody's pushing me to be older. So that was something. Had a little scare. My daughter had a little lump in her chest. We took her to the hospital Monday. We found out it's benign and she good. Wow. So yeah. So Pops was worried a little this weekend, but I was like, she gonna be good. So it all worked out. But the one thing she was saying to her mom was just like, damn, now daddy gonna be like, you need to eat like me. You need to get you some. Are you damn right? Hey, listen, we're gonna get some soursop leaves, we're gonna get some bitters, we're gonna get some neem oil, we're gonna get everything we need, some community movement builder sea moss, we're gonna get everything we need. We're gonna cut out some of this meat and some of the sugar, get some lemon water, some turmeric with some ginger. Don't get me started, man. It's on and popping. Yeah, they done fucked up now. But yeah, that was my weekend.
Who done fucked up? The lumps done fucked up.
The lumps done fucked up. We coming at you now. We gonna get my baby girl right. So that's what it is. Let's go ahead and take our first break, and then we can pretty much come back and get into some news, because I know it's a lot of craziness going on right here, right now in the world. All right, y'all ready to do that?
Let's do it.
All right, right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
As we
give me one more chance. Give me one more chance. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. Here to start controversy. You know what I do. Anyway, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com. Become a member over there. Get footage that's rare. Donate where? At blkliberationmedia.org. Go get you some merch. Get fly. Continue to help us be here. Let's talk about the weather real quick. We got a high in ATL of 85 degrees. It's damn near summer out this biatch. DC is 88 degrees today. It's going to be nice out there. Chicago got a high of 73 degrees, so it's a little bit, it's getting there. It's springing. Houston, high of 81 degrees. Next, let's go to Aruba, high of 85 degrees. And last but not least, let's go to the motherland, no other land, Dakar, Senegal. They got a high of 76 degrees. That's kind of cool. But I'll tell you what was who has no cool? Your boy right here. That's right. Your boy put up a picture of him as Jesus the Christ. And then said he thought that he was a doctor helping to save people, but took it down, deleted it, realized how wild for the night he was, even saying some shit like that. But I'm looking at this picture and I see no other races on it but white people. In his head and in his mind, that is what America should be. I see. Okay. All right. Nice. Well, anyway, let's get back to it right here on the Remix Morning Show with the rest of the crew. You know how we do. All right. Yeah.
I hadn't actually seen that picture. I heard everybody talking about it, but I hadn't actually looked at it. That's wild shit.
He's a doctor.
He really be wilding, yo. He really like that's some real. Oh my lord. Oh.
I thought I was a doctor.
Everybody knows doctors dress in robes and have the medicine come as light out of their hands. Everybody knows that's how doctors work. I don't know why y'all are tripping.
I mean, I don't understand. I'm with Trump. I don't see how the fake news could have got. He was trying to confuse it. He looks
How could they possibly be confused?
like a doctor. I mean, every doctor I've ever seen looks just like that. Hands glowing and everything.
The interview of him after he was like, only fake news could come up with this. I was like, bro, yeah.
You posted it.
All right.
But yo, the white people on that picture, oh my god!
Off whites is foaming at the mouth with fury. What is with the beef with the Catholics? It's like all of a sudden Catholics got knocked down.
It's because the Pope came for him, and so he's mad now.
But you're going to take it out on all the Catholics?
I mean, he's taking it out on all the Iranians.
Right.
Well, true story. That is true. Jeez Louise.
It's all of y'all. You all the problem.
All of y'all.
That's because y'all ain't vote for Kamala.
Nigga, please. Kamala.
That's what they say. If you would have voted for Kamala, see,
if you would have voted for Kamala in Maryland, it wouldn't have made no difference. And Maryland went for Kamala. So did New York, a lot of places, but that's neither here nor there at this point in time.
Pretty much.
We all know Kamala was a big friend to Iran and Venezuela and Cuba and Haiti. Like we know she would have been defending them and supporting them.
That's what I think we would have seen out of a Harris administration. We may not have seen the ICE stuff, which is insanity, by the way. Like, let me not even try to. It's not that what's going with the ICE detention. It's on steroids. But yeah, we probably would have deposed Mr. Maduro. We probably still would have tried to do some fuck shit with Iran because Kamala would have gladly had her arm twisted by Netanyahu. It probably wouldn't even taken no arm twisting, to be honest, because she would have had to try to prove her mettle as a woman and as the black, I can defend this country. Yes, let's drop bombs on Iran. She would have been all for it.
Mm-hmm. Somebody need to do a what if like they do in Marvel, like the whole what if multi-universe. Like, what would it look like if she would have got elected? That'd have been something.
I don't even know. I don't even know if we need to, right? Because you already have Hillary Clinton talking about he's doing a good job. You already have Bernie Sanders talking about he's doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? So you already have not just like kind of traditional, quote unquote, or really conservative Democrats saying he's doing a good job. You have like the supposed left wing of the Democratic Party, a la, Bernie Sanders talking about, Biden couldn't get it done with the border. So, Trump's doing a good job. So I'm like, we don't have to do the what if, right? Democrats are openly supporting, right, all of this stuff, or quietly, thinking that he's doing us a favor. You know what I mean? Because that's what they think too, right? Like when and if a Democrat comes back in office, they're not going to run any of this stuff back. You know what I mean? He's doing them a favor as far as they're concerned in terms of U.S. imperialism because he's pushing that ball forward. They're going to come in, nothing's going to change, right? Or they're going to continue to antagonize it maybe a different way, and then we'll just go back to this seesaw. There's two cheeks of the same ass, right? As Renee eloquently was able to talk about this past weekend.
Yeah, I almost just choked just now because why? Like, why is the chat so undefeated? Not Hillary. It says Hillary also said previously she would attack Iran if she became president. But Hillary, Monty, I almost fell over just now. The chat remains undefeated.
All right, well, let me, I got to go take the garbage out to the curb. So let's go ahead and hit this map and y'all can get to it. All right here on the Remix Money Show.
Greetings and welcome, everybody. Salutations, even. Today is Tuesday, the 14th of April, 2026. You are watching the Remix Morning Show, the Tuesday edition. Dare I say the enlightened, or one of the enlightened days. We have numerous days of enlightenment actually here on the Remix Morning Show, this being one of them.
Yeah. Different styles, you know what I'm saying? Different approaches to dealing with the ear doctor. You can see that all across the week. We're all trying different strategies. See which one works.
That's Evan. The other square is Renee. My name is Kim. Ear Doctors in the Cut Remixers. Thank you so much for joining us, for being the most undefeated, the most knowledgeable, the most hilarious. Mm-hmm. My gosh. I wish there was some way to spotlight chat performance. Like who gets the gold star for the funniest jokes being run in the chat on today? We got to figure out some sort of point system or reward system. But
I wouldn't want that job. Trying to quantify this, you gotta it's too many hits. It's too many hits. I don't know.
You know why? Because Black people are hilarious. I'm sorry, like no matter where in the globe you go, I swear to, I mean, I love negritude. I love bumping into Black people not from this country and we just be here. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. But yeah. But Evan, I wanted to say this. I'm so glad that you're on our side, because the way you just jumped into your PACA presentation, as soon as there was a small sliver of opening, Evan said, let me come right on in here and tell y'all what we're doing. I said, if Evan was in sales, we would be fucked. He would be John Hope Bryant out this bitch.
Oh, no.
But you're on our side. So, you know, you're using your powers for good. So that's great.
I hope to say... I hope my references are better than John Hope Bryant. Good God. That's not the... Even to be the radical version of him, man, I still be out here with no references.
He has a new book out. My mama was watching Al Sharpton, so I was watching Al Sharpton, and John Hope Bryant is on. He got a new book, and it's got capitalism in the title. I said, "Oh Jesus, I can't even tell you the name of the book."
Capitalism for All. I've been watching.
I think that's because Jared got it, and I think he got through like the first chapter and was like, I can't do it no more.
There's a whole group of books that I will never read just because I need Jared to go in on them, and then like I can't waste my time with those.
I can't. Yeah, I can't. Yeah. Every now and again, I look around in their books and I'm like, I should probably read it because I shit on the person so much. And so I should probably just read it so that I can say like I actually read it. And then, then I'm like, but do I really want to do that to myself? It's like, I watched Superman because I really wanted us to be able to talk to Samantha about it. And I'm never going to get them 2 hours back. And so like, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But can't you hear Jared Ball in your head? But did you read the book though? He talked about his own book, right? You know what I'm saying? But did you read the book, Renee? Well, how can you have a critique if you didn't read the book? You didn't even read the book.
That is accurate. But what I'm gonna do is just not critique the book. I'm just gonna stay out that lane completely and just not do that. I'm just gonna leave that one alone.
I just want to keep going back to the Brokish interview. I don't need to critique anything else because I can just pull up John O'Brien on the Brokish podcast and be like, whatever he's talking about, we're gonna debunk it.
Awful.
We shouldn't need anything else, honestly. Oh man.
So there's lots of news. I'm not sure what direction you guys would like to go in for news. Though I feel as though this feud between Trump and the Pope is the latest distraction of many distractions. It is interesting. There's a bit of palace intrigue there where the king and the Pope are quarreling publicly, feuding. And it's like, which white man gonna win?
But is he? So I wonder too. Like, isn't the Pope like not like 100% white? Isn't there like a whole theory behind? Because he wasn't.
Oh, you're talking about like those people talking about like he's part black.
Yeah, because he's actually from Louisiana.
This guy, Bobby,
the Pope.
Chicago.
I actually
Yeah.
I do remember this now.
And I feel like Chitty Matcha said something about this and it like scrolled up too fast. But
he is, according to genealogical research published in May 2025, Pope Leo, oh my God, the 14th. Yo, I'm looking at these Roman numerals. I'm like, the 14th. I need like a pause before I. Okay, Pope Leo the 14th, Robert Prevost, has documented Black ancestry. Records indicate his maternal grandparents, Joseph Martinez and Louis Baquier, were Louisiana Creoles of color from New Orleans, Caribbean and European roots, who later identified as white after moving to Chicago.
Wow. Oh, well, as soon as Trump found that out, as soon as he found out he had that muddled blood, disrespect ensues.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that, but yeah,
I didn't even know that.
Who knows, man?
Yeah, it's only because Chitty Matcha had mentioned it once, and I think she said something about it today. Like I was like, I wonder how much of that is playing a role in this.
But he does. But he identifies as white. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, apparently they did too when they moved to Chicago, talking about whiteness.
Right.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we can.
Can we talk about Mayor Adams real quick? Just because this was on the run sheet, and I'm like, what is happening right now? And so I'm like,
are you talking about him getting some new citizenship? And I was in confusion. I too was in confusion because I'm like, what, nigga? What?
What is that? Former New York City Mayor Eric Adams granted Albanian citizenship. What is? What is? Okay, we're gonna watch this only because I need to understand. Sorry.
Coming. Former New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been granted citizenship to Albania. Adams reportedly requested to become a citizen of the Balkan nation and was granted it through a special decree by the nation's president. No word on why Adams is seeking the citizenship, but a spokesperson for him released a statement saying the decision reflects the enduring friendship the city has had with Albania, and Adams' honorary citizenship is in line with the respect bestowed on other leaders. Adams visited Albania back in October and will now have dual citizenship.
Of all places. I have a question now about do we have an extradition treaty with
Albania extradite?
I was like, did he try and find the one place where, like, when all his stuff starts to come out, they can't come get him? Is that what this is about?
There's no way. I mean, yeah, definitely not. Albania does extradite to the U.S. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's because it's 90% white or ethnic Albanian. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna like that. I don't know. This is weird. It doesn't make any sense to me.
That's so odd. It's such a. There has to be a reason. There literally has to be a reason. And there. Wait. We have a. Dun and Nunn says, I believe that it's because he's trying to further the Eastern European agenda of the Trump administration. Also, he knows certain figures in the underworld he learned while leading the NYPD. Very possible. Very possible.
My guess is that Albania likely had a quid pro quo relationship with Adams when he was mayor, like Turkey did, right? But it just didn't turn up in the investigation, or it wasn't released publicly. Like this is just sort of out of left field of all places, Albania. And we know that, Albanian underworld has a presence in New York City. If let Law and Order tell it. But I don't know, somebody greased his palm at some point with some Albanian dollars, and he's like, oh, I can come chill. But again, why as a black person would you want? I mean, at least there's niggas in France. I don't know about niggas in Albania. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least there's black people other places in Europe. Where's the diaspora stronghold in Albania? Not to say there's no black people there, because there's black people everywhere, but shit. No thanks.
It's very random.
Former black NYPD officer. Maybe he just is. I feel like he probably hates.
There must be something. There must be something. Shout out to brother Jamil.
Niggas in Paris.
No. That's what
What's the capital of Albania? Anybody know? Real quick, show me how smart y'all are. What's the capital of Albania?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I have
no idea. But shout out, Brother Jamil. Thank you for the $4.99. This platform is vital, and we are in the chat, and we in the chat are noble, wise, and handsome as heck. I agree, Brother Jamil. Facts.
All facts.
Also, Tirana is the capital and largest city in Albania. I have never heard that. Never heard of that. Tirana. I'd be more likely to think that was a name than the name of a town or a city. That's the capital. Now, the more you know.
Speaking of that part of the world, do we care that the Hungarian president took a L? The MAGA endorsed?
We do, because JD Vance went out there when it stood up next to him and then he lost. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
That is funny.
The Hungarian president, Viktor Orban, who had been in power for 16 years, was handily defeated at the polls. He conceded after just 3 hours after the ballots closed. Now, I don't like in the Western media how they're positioning the guy that defeated him, the opposition. I can't remember what his name is, Victor something. But they're like, oh, what's his name?
Magyar?
Oh, Peter something?
I think so. Peter Magyar. That's what it sounds like. I don't know how to say his last name. But.
Cool, him. Well, he was down with the team. He was part of Orban's political coalition. And from what I understand, the only reason he separated from Orban wasn't because, he decided not to be racist all of a sudden. But no, he was fed up, I think, with the level of corruption in the Orban administration. It wasn't necessarily an ideological split. It was, y'all over here stealing too much. We don't like that. So don't be looking for no.
Oh, no. We're not looking for no
revolutionary.
No, we're not looking for no changes. I'm just always a fan of, when the U.S. government goes somewhere to post up and it don't happen the way they think it's going to happen. I always just think it's funny.
Yeah. I will highlight this part. The landslide will not only allow Magyar to overturn Orban's increasingly unpopular domestic policies, as Kim was saying, but reset Hungary's global relationships. I don't know about that. Orban has been a close partner of both U.S. President Donald Trump, earning an in-person appearance from U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance in the final week of the campaign, and Russia's Vladimir Putin, and he had become a big thorn in the side of the EU and Ukraine. Magyar, on the other hand, stood on a platform of distancing Hungary from Russia in favor of more cordial ties with the EU and Ukraine. So it's in terms of this repositioning, it's not like a repositioning away from the U.S. They're repositioning away from Russia. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if overall it's more of the same.
Well, best of luck to them. Any and all Africans in Hungary, thoughts and prayers. Y'all hold your head. Y'all gonna be all right. Well, speaking of places where JD Vance continues to show up and fail, the alleged ceasefire talks coming out of Islamabad, Pakistan over the weekend, where marathon talks lasted 21 hours between the U.S. delegate. I wish someone would get on the fucking news and tell me why Jared Kushner punk ass is over there. They keep saying U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. I said, this nigga has no qualifications. What is Jared doing over there? Jared don't have no foreign policy experience. Jared ain't no negotiator. Jared. This is how white men just fail up into positions of leadership and decision-making, just being related. But anyway, J.D. Vance came out of Pakistan empty-handed. And then Donald Trump promised a blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. I said, nigga, how you going to blockade the blockade? Make it make sense.
But this is always what they do, right? We're going to go create our own blockade. I thought you've been telling people all this time, stuff wasn't getting through and it was a problem. What are you blockading? I got to stop laughing at these things. I don't know if I can though, because I just spiritually cannot.
It's a coping mechanism.
It is it is just so much nonsense. And when I listen, in the mornings on WBAI, they do like an 8-minute around the world news thing, and they played a clip of Trump talking, and he was like, Iran is trying to, actually, Iran is trying to build the nuclear weapon to destroy the world. And I was like, is no one going to say to him, like, that's just not true? That's literally not true. It's literally the exact opposite of what they've been doing for decades, right? Like literally the exact opposite. And it's like we just gonna let the bullshit like float in the air, and we're not even gonna question it.
Yeah, I do want to highlight this from Zero PE because I agree. That Richard Medhurst's latest vid highlighted what they might be trying to do. So I also checked that video out. It's very it's very good. And as I said, Richard Medhurst is kind of one of the only people I've heard speaking about this from the perspective of like the U.S. production of LNG, liquefied natural gas. And essentially what he's putting forth is just that the U.S. is kind of moving into this space of just being open piracy, right? And using open piracy to control not just like oil flows, but capital flows as well. So I do think that that's something we should dig more into, because I do think that that's probably more explanatory, at least on the geopolitical economy side, right? As opposed to kind of like the war that's actually in that region, which the U.S. I think is losing, right, as all of our information would suggest. But broader kind of analysis around capital flows and liquefied natural gas, I think, could be more explanatory from what I'm seeing.
So looking at what the Strait of Hormuz closing is doing, I mean, well, first of all, let me lead with the important facts. Thousands of people have been killed already in Iran, and we're seeing north of 1,000, I think, way north of 1,000 killed in Lebanon, because Lebanon was not part of any ceasefire agreement. And from what I understand, the Lebanese government is trying to negotiate or in direct talks with Israel.
I thought that was according, Kim, just to clarify, I thought that was according to the U.S., right? I thought according to Iran, they were always supposed to be a part of it.
Yes.
But okay, just to clarify.
No, you're 100% right. Yes. So Iran always included Lebanon as part of their negotiables, right? Or actually non-negotiables. I think the ceasefire in Lebanon was immediately part of that. Trump initially agreed, but then immediately reneged. Shocker. And it doesn't appear as though Israel is going to let up on Lebanon at all. And are missiles still flying between Iran and Israel? Is that part of the ceasefire still holding, as it were? And the fighting just between Hezbollah and Israel right now? Or is Iran still letting the chopper sing?
Sure. Exactly.
Yeah, it's all very... I think there's a very, very like loose kind of hold on things right now, but now that the U.S. started blockading, but the idea of a ceasefire, in my opinion, is like never actually a ceasefire. So whenever I hear it, I never actually see a ceasefire. Like it never actually stops on either end.
Especially when Israel's involved. Israel, there must not be a Hebrew word for ceasefire, because like them niggas, we don't understand that word. What's that concept? Ceasefire.
I mean, the U.S. and to just what it has meant, right, is it's time for the U.S. and Israel to restock, to reload, to reorganize themselves, and then as the peace talks or negotiations have served as opportunity for them to kill leaders, like the U.S. and Israel are by no means trustworthy actors, right, when it comes to a ceasefire, and Iran knows that, right? Like we're not saying anything that the Iranian government doesn't know, and I'm sure that they're planning accordingly, right? And and may have even called off the ceasefire with the kind of aggression against Lebanon, right? That Israel was trying to say that wasn't included. So, the situation is clearly in flux, right? But I mean, I think what is also important is that we continue to see the U.S. government try to try to like narrate, right, a truth, right, that does not exist. So just here, well, just to kind of start from the top, the U.S. blockade of ships using Iranian ports in the Gulf has come into effect, turning the six-week-old conflict into between U.S.-Israeli coalition and Iran into a test of economic endurance. U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, made no formal announcement of the start of the blockade, but had said it began on Monday at 5:30 p.m. Iranian time and would apply to any ships entering or departing Iranian ports or coastal areas, while ships using non-Iranian ports would not be impeded. Donald Trump claimed that 34 ships had passed through the Strait of Hormuz, the gateway to the Gulf, on Sunday, but there was no supporting evidence for the claim. Speaking to reporters at the White House, the president also claimed, "We've been called by the other side, who he said would like to make a deal very badly." Right, so
just stay lying.
Yeah.
First of all, shout out to Iran. Y'all the real MVPs out here. We appreciate your efforts. And if anything, let me speak for myself, not for everybody, but I would like to support Iran's plans for a nuclear program, because this whole episode demonstrates why they need nuclear weapons. And let me be clear, I am opposed to nuclear weapons as a concept. But nukes keep the suckers up off of you. Word to North Korea. Ain't nobody fucking with North Korea. Why? Because they got the nukes. Iran, don't stop that program, baby. Don't stop believing. Enrich that uranium out the ass. Get them shits ready, because you're going to need them. And you better not let a nuclear program or the threat thereof be the reason that you concede here. Like, no, you need the nuclear yappas, please. Onward with the nuclear yappa program. It's necessary.
And just be clear, they don't have nuclear weapons. There's never been any evidence of them having nuclear weapons, right? And we can see, to your point, Kim, right? North Korea does, and the way in which the U.S. has to wage war on North Korea, because the war never stops, right? But the way that the war has to be waged, the U.S. imperial war has to be waged, is economically, politically, rhetorically, right, and through propaganda. So that if that were to happen, right, this war would change methodology. But it is important to note, right, that they do not have. While the U.S. and Israel have been trying to imply and say that they're minutes, seconds away from a nuclear program, they have never been. They do not have a nuclear weapon. They have not been pursuing that. There was even a fatwa against producing nuclear weapons. This was for energy, and it never mattered, as far as the U.S. and Israel were concerned.
But don't you think the world is probably more sympathetic now to and again, I know the whole nuclear program thing was a, Trojan horse of sorts of an argument, but I think the world understands, like, hey, there's some utility here for this. Iran doesn't strike me as the nation most likely to deploy a nuclear weapon. However, those that are threatening Iran definitely seem like they are likely to deploy a nuclear weapon. So obtaining the nuke as a method of deterrence, if for no other reason to deter, they got to go forward with that. And I'm cool with that.
Renee, what do you think?
I think that there is probably no nation more likely to drop a nuclear bomb than Israel. And so all this, which by the way has been fully allowed to run a nuclear program with no question, no concern, no one says a thing about it. And so I think there's no governmental structure more likely to do something like that than Israel. And so I don't. Every accusation is a confession. So this constant pushing of, Iran and the new and their nuclear program, their entire program with regard to nuclear power is about energy. It has nothing to do with weaponry. It's not a military strategy. It's an energy program. And so this whole the whole thing is it's wild when you really think about it. And I heard this morning that that energy site was built with the assistance of Russia. and they've now reduced the staff in that building to whatever lowest number is necessary for maintenance, because you don't know what these crazy fools are going to do as they continue their assault upon the Iranian people. And so I guess I'm more quiet because I don't really have a good answer for this, right? Like I don't know that any government having the ability to wipe countries off the face of the earth is a good idea. I think the US historically has proven that having that capacity is not a good idea because all they do is drop it on people. And I don't know. I wonder, is it a deterrent really? Or I don't know. I'm struggling, y'all. I'm struggling. This whole thing makes me it gives me anxiety, this whole situation, because the places that need to be focused upon, because they are literally genocidal ghouls, are the places that no one is giving any attention to questioning why they have the capacity to do the things they're doing, why they're allowed to do the things that they're doing, that Iran has managed to hold on to any bit of ability to fight back is, you just have to be glad for small favors, I guess. And it's just ongoing. Like, I just feel like it's never real. The situation is never fully clear because we, as a society here, are so manipulated. The news is so fake. The information is so obstruct. Like, so I don't know, right? Like, is it really the nuclear power why North Korea is not under? I don't know. Is it? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I hate all this shit. I want people to live. That's what I want. So
that's what Kim Jong-un be doing when he does this. And North Korea has test fired new ballistic missiles into the Sea of Japan. A reminder. In case y'all forgot, we know North Korea, we went over here quiet in Pyongyang, but we got yappas on deck. Y'all better act accordingly.
I will say this is making me think about, like, just to kind of move it away from like because I could see the argument around nuclear weapons, right? But I'm also just aware, and I know it's seen in the chat, right, that this is literally the excuse the U.S. uses for its belligerence, right? That they are seeking a nuclear weapon, and I do think that this broadly is reminding me. I was doing some internal PE recently, and we were reading Kwame Nkrumah's Neocolonialism: The Last Stage of Imperialism, and something he talks about in the introduction of that book, right, is the way in which imperialism is supported by this kind of non-alignment position, right? And countries trying to kind of do their own thing. It allows empire, right, US empire in this case, right, to engage in limited war, right? That is to say, it allows the US empire to ostracize, isolate that country, right, and engage in limited war that's not going to affect broader global economic flows or anything like that. And I think, if anything, what Iran is kind of proving in this moment is that the alliances, right, as of the absence of resistance, was making it impossible for this to be a limited war, right? The U.S. empire would very much like to isolate Iran, to limit its capabilities to, right, like to fight back, or right, or to even maintain its own sovereignty, right? But not only the internal kind of strength of the Iranian Revolution and this broader axis of resistance, it seems to me that that's what's making it impossible, right, for the U.S. to kind of, and U.S. and Israel to limit this war to kind of something so small. Right. And it reminds me of like the work that's happening with the AES, right? Like what is allowing, Burkina Faso by itself, right, is very, very vulnerable to US imperialism, not so much, right, as a member of the AES, right? And I think that work, right, is something that we can see that kind of directly, limits the ability of imperialism to kind of act in the way that it would like to act and to isolate countries in the way they would like to. So I think that for me, like that would be the thing that I would kind of come back to. This is making me think about, I would say.
It seems as though Iran is being supported by China and Russia, right? I mean, obviously, Russian troops and Chinese destroyers are not headed towards the Strait of Hormuz to take on the Israelis and the Americans, but it's intelligence being shared. It's weapon systems being shared. I even think I saw a story that North Korea had sent Iran some things. So it seems as though that other axis of Eastern powers, Russia, China, North Korea, for what that's worth, is trying to do a little something for Iran.
Yeah,
probably not enough, but
But let's see. What do you think, Air Doctor? Are they doing enough?
I mean, I was out taking the garbage out to the curb, but I got to hear.
Did you walk to the landfill? Like, what you mean? Walk to the dump?
I mean, I was doing that, and I was also getting some my reading on. I'm reading this prescription for nutritional healing. So I'm working on what I can control.
Who wrote that? Dr. Oz?
No,
I'm kidding. I'm just playing.
It gives you a bunch of different herbs and recommendations and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But all what y'all saying. Yeah, thumbs up.
Oh my God. You're such a jerk.
But listen, make sure y'all come back here at 3:00 today. In case y'all didn't know, we'll be celebrating our. There's too much stuff on the screen right there. Let me take that down. We'll be celebrating our 5th anniversary. Yes, 5 years on this platform. So make sure y'all come back.
That is bonkers.
Yeah,
that doesn't. It just sounds weird,
wild.
Me and Dr. Ball will be your host, and we're gonna have a bunch of different hosts from shows coming through and showing their love. And please come back and show your love. Let's take a quick break, and then we can get back to some more of what's going on in this crazy world. All right here on No Other Than the Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
You don't know now.
It's time for a remix on the remix.
I could break it down like whatever you want. You wanna like this? I hit you in, but you get this when I'm pissed. I could break it down like whatever you want. You wanna like this? I hit you in, but you get this when I'm pissed. Miss the buckshot, knocking out quick. Bitch, get off my mouth. I rope them up and boot them up, then shoot them up. Whatever, I'm clever because I wear my leather in the winter. I enter the stage, thinking cocky gauge, I bust some off, so I'm awful. And then I leave the stage, I'm just a crazy maniac, murder type thinking. Your shit, your ass thinking. I see you blinking, I'm ready. Then forget him, never should have bet him. But he was talking shit to my man, so I had to get him. Yep, you can get the fist, brother. But how many MCs must get this?
All right. Let me take you to a time and place. Let me take you back to the year 1993. Yes, we talking about the group Black Moon off their album Into the Stage. The name of that song is How Many MCs Must Get Dissed. Hit that like button on that Ear Doctor beat, as you can hear. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that's rare, donate. We're at blkliberationmedia.org. Show your love. Please, let's be here another 5 years. Help us to do that. All right, that's it. Let's get back to it right here on the Remix Morning Show.
Can I make a request, Air Doctor?
What up?
One day in the future, can you do a boot camp click mix?
Well,
like
actually,
on a Sundays or something?
If you go back into the playlist of Ear Doctor and Sundays, you will find that I've done a boot camp click verse DITC. So that's a pretty dope mix where we, digging in the crates and boot camp click mastered together. So go down the playlist, check out Ear Doctor Sundays, and you will find that.
So no, you're not going to do a boot camp click mix.
It's been done. I'm telling people.
Nope. That's a versus. That's a versus. There is a difference. There's a versus. There's a versus. I'm talking about an boot camp click exclusive.
Well, we'll think. We'll see. We'll see. But please, for now, go and check that out on the playlist. And I'm sure you'll enjoy many other shows you can check out on the playlist.
Listen, come on. Renee used to smack niggas to boot camp clip walking the streets of Brooklyn. Renee will be walking to be mushing niggas.
Talk about who got the props. Who got the props? Word. What happened to 5
niggas
foot?
made in 90s was mush music. Music to mush niggas in the face too.
Yo, 93, 92, you had Redman, you had Naughty by Nature, you had Cypress Hill, it was about
it really
that life.
Was. That was so I graduated in 90. You graduated in 93 too, right? Doctor?
Yeah.
Or were you 92?
93.
93 too. So that first year of college, that was all the music. It was all Redman, Onyx, like it was all jump around. Yeah,
it was great.
It was real.
Mosh pit, hip hop mosh pit, especially with Onyx. Oh, it was crazy.
Oh man, I told y'all I almost bit it in a mosh pit. Redman and Method Man, I was almost not here. Men had no regard for my little self, none whatsoever.
They still doing mosh pits now with the hip hop now. I just seen what was it? Young Thug was out there performing at Coachella, and he was telling the Kanye West kids like, "Get out of here. We about to get this mosh pit when I put this certain song on." So a certain song that still get the kids out there wilding, like "Nuck If You Buck." I could keep going, but anyway, I will catch you on the next break.
How old Nuck If You Buck is? Nuck If You Buck is like 20 plus years old.
They still get. That's what I'm saying. Certain songs they do it. You know what I mean? All right. Anyway, prom this weekend. Catch me there.
What?
He said prom or pride?
I don't know.
I think he said prom.
Oh,
but I guess it's prom season.
Okay,
right?
Is it a little early?
It is, but if you remember, they get out of school mad early down there. Like they finish school in May down there, so it would make sense for this to be prom season, actually. So
that makes sense.
Have fun at prom, kids. Be safe. Anyway, thanks so much for everybody joining us this morning. It's the Remix Morning Show, Black Liberation Media. Renee, Evan, Kim Brown, Ed Doctor, and y'all are all stars. We love you all so much. And shout out to even the randos that come in here. We get some scragglers in here from time to time. We even get an occasional hater. You know, we welcome all. All are welcome.
Real quick, it is National Poetry Month, and tomorrow I will be heading out to City Winery, as we had Jessica Care Moore on here last Thursday.
Right.
And I'll be doing that tomorrow. So if you're in the Atlanta area, come on out.
City Winery, ATL. Go hang out with Jessica Caremore and the Ear Doctor.
Yeah, Malik Yusuf, Yoni Anna, Queen Sheba. It's gonna be a dope show. See y'all there.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ear Doctor. See, yeah, it's the kind of information we can use. Speaking of information we could use, beloveds, where shall we go along to our next story?
You want to talk about this Amazon facility?
Yeah.
So which there's a lot of facilities.
Yeah.
So is the one where the worker passed away?
Yes, that's the one.
That one. The very
what town? Where did this happen?
Oregon.
In Oregon.
I don't know if it said the city. Oh, Troutdale, Oregon.
Wow.
Never heard of it. But yeah. Quote, everyone is replaceable, and quote, death rattles Oregon Amazon facility. A worker died at Amazon's Troutdale warehouse last week. Employees were told to look away. I'm just going to read the beginning. I'm just going to read, down to this paragraph. So we have some grounding. Sam was helping unload trucks when a heavy thud against concrete echoed across the Amazon warehouse. An employee's lifeless body lay on the floor. Work halted in the loading docks on the south side of Amazon's distribution center in Troutdale, Oregon. Sam and other employees stared at the person who'd collapsed just 20 feet away. Conveyor belts of packages continued to roll. I didn't have a direct line of sight of the person's face, but I saw a body form laying lifeless, Sam told the Western Edge. Employees who spoke for this story requested anonymity to protect their jobs, and their names have been changed. Hours before, a group of trainees on their second day at Amazon sat in a break room scrolling Kindles loaded with training materials about what is required of Amazon workers in order to expeditiously shuttle goods to people's homes across the Portland metro area. They learned how to safely lift packages while meeting the blistering pace of the giant retailer expected. There were no training videos for what to do when a coworker dies right in front of you. The man who collapsed on the floor died Monday, April 6th, on the second level of the Amazon warehouse as machinery filled the cavernous loading dock with a dull hum. In 911 calls obtained through a public records request, one employee called for an ambulance at 1:55 p.m. The dispatcher coached a confused employee over speakerphone on how to use a defibrillator. Meanwhile, during a second call, another employee describes a horrific scene. Quote, "We have an associate here who I believe is probably dead," end quote. "This person does have extensive blood coming from their head," he said. "They are looking very blue. They're very blue looking, excuse me." For more than an hour, several employees said workers in the facility were instructed to continue fetching totes, picking items off shelves, and loading them onto trucks for delivery as the man lay dead.
This is the part of, wait, I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, Evan. This is the part of the story that I find very confusing. If people called 911, how was it that this person was laying in the warehouse on the ground for an hour? If there had been multiple 911 calls made, why I'm sorry, go continue. I just had to interject there because it's a part of the story that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's a good question, and it is partially answered at least later in the story. Because there's a vignette that I will go to. But yeah, for more than an hour, several employees said workers in the facility were instructed to continue fetching totes, picking items off shelves, and loading them onto trucks for delivery as the man lay dead. And management figured out the next steps. That's important. That'll come back to later. News of the fatality quickly spread through the building, but workers say top managers did not call operations to an immediate halt. A week later, several workers said they still do not know what caused the man to die. Records indicate that he was 46 years old. Kim, to your point, later on in the story, they talk about how the main person who's the subject, the main kind of narrator or experience we're following, Sam, saw someone doing CPR on this person immediately after, right?
Right.
And then essentially asked their manager, "Can I go to help? I know they're going to need," like if anyone who's familiar with any of this, right? CPR is a very physically intensive practice. You're literally pushing down on the person's chest with the potential of possibly breaking their ribs, trying to get air back into their lungs, right? So it's a very labor-intensive process. Anyone who knows that person needs to be subbed out. Like you can't do that for very long, right? And it needs to keep happening to try to, what am I trying to say? Increase the chances that the person survives. That's what I'm trying to say. So this person, Sam, asked their manager, right? "Can I go help? Can I go sub in?" Kind of crying, "Can I go help this person?" And the manager told them, "No, someone from management needs to handle it. You need to go back and do your job." Right. So like this was the back and forth this person had with their manager. Right. So just to kind of get to your point, Kim, the reason it took so long is because the operations did not stop. Right. And management had to essentially figure out a way to quote unquote deal with the situation, which is probably why it took so long for this person to get help or for anything to happen at all within the facility.
That's where there's a gap in the timeline for me, because if people were calling 911, which means they were calling their local provided ambulance service, where was the ambulance for this hour? You know what I mean? That's just a part of this that just doesn't make sense. But I do appreciate the reporting. I think the outlet is Western Edge, because I don't think this story was initially reported in mainstream Oregon, outlets. But for this small independent media outlet, the story has gotten out. And it is horrific, and obviously not the first person to have died while at work at an Amazon warehouse, which again is tragic.
Right. Again, just of context, a 2019 investigation by Reveal found that this Portland area facility had the worst injury rate out of 23 major distribution centers analyzed using data from Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA. In 2018, more than a quarter of all workers at the building, known as PDX9, had some type of injury on the job. And deaths at Amazon facilities have also drawn media attention in recent years from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Colorado. In 2024, OSHA concluded that a series of 3 deaths in New Jersey in the span of a month were not Amazon's fault, prompting a federal lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Labor. When that lawsuit settled in late 2025, it did not find Amazon at fault and was fully dismissed in February 2026, according to federal court records. So there's, multiple levels to this, right? Right. There's the fact that Amazon workers are seeing this person laying, dying, or dead, and are explicitly told not to help them, explicitly told not to provide first aid, CPR, right, and to continue to do their job.
Which is crazy.
This is also, as Kim is saying, a trend, right, within Amazon warehouses and indeed other warehouses, right? I don't want to limit this to just Amazon. We're talking about Amazon right now, where this isn't known, right? But the way the state supports capital and is intertwined with capital, right? We live in this imperialist, settler, colonial, capitalist state. There is no quote unquote justice, right, coming to Amazon, right? If anything, it's going to be cleared, right? No matter how many deaths happen, it's not their fault, right? And we're going to continue to move settlements, and we're just going to continue to business as usual.
And also, just real quick, what Kim is saying about that timeline. Kim, I don't know if you've ever been to an Amazon warehouse like in person, but these are massive, massive facility. Like there are 2 of them like in the same whatever 10,000 acreage thing that they have in Staten Island. And literally, it took me 20 minutes to find the group that I was trying to find because I was on the wrong side of the warehouse. So there's also this unfortunate reality that the ambulance got there, couldn't figure out where they were supposed to go, couldn't figure out how to get to the person. And because everyone's going on as if business as usual, there's not a dead person laying on the warehouse floor, there was no urgency to get them to where they needed to be, which is, I don't know if that's what happened, but that is a possibility given the size and absolute chaos that is happening on these warehouse floors.
Yeah,
and I think
my fault.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. It's okay.
I was gonna say, just to that point, people in the facility didn't know, right? Like other workers in another part of the facility, to Renee's point, had no idea this had happened. And we're just told they worked into their end of their this happened at 1:55, right? They worked into the end of their 3:45 p.m. break, and we're just told to go home. They would be paid for the rest of the day. So people who worked there did not know that this had happened, right? Just to Renee's point about how big this facility is. And they also talk at later points about how loud it is, right? That they had, it's incredibly hot. It's very loud because of these machines. They put in sound dampening curtains to supposedly like deal with the noise. It's important to note that the workers in the warehouse have said that the noise has not dissipated for them, and that it's even hotter because those curtains prevent airflow. They perceive that this was done to support the office workers, right, in the facility, so it's not as loud for them. But yeah, continue, Renee, to your point about,
No, I mean, that was really all. But just thinking about, because I feel like this same thing happened like 2 years ago. And they just like came in and picked the body up, and everybody just kept on going like life as usual.
Yeah.
And I think part of my issue, and this is, I don't order things from Amazon, right? That's me, because I don't want people peeing in bottles to bring me some bullshit that I could have waited another 2 days to get, right? And so part of this also is like, this wild, like we have to have our thing right now, right? Because we have to have our thing right now. So you have these huge facilities where the turnover, I think when I did some research on it, it's like 160% the turnover, right? Like people just in and out. Like the minute you start complaining, they fire you and they replace you with somebody who doesn't know what they're about to get into. Mm-hmm. And this whole, it's all built off of American, like greed, right? Like we have to have our things right now. Like we have to sell this thing right now. And we have to be, you have to get it today. Like I'm going to order it this morning because I have to have it by this afternoon. Like the level of which people are okay with the mistreatment of other people so they can get their fucking baubles. Like, what? Like, what is? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got these dueling stories, not even dueling, because one story is getting a lot of attention, and this story that we just featured is not really getting much attention at all. But the other warehouse story that has made national news was the burning down. I said, "You rang? Did I hear my name? Burn it down, my man." At the Kimberly Clark warehouse in Ontario, California. I can't think of his name. I think his name is Shahid something. Brother Shahid made a video going around the warehouse saying, "Hey, if you're not going to pay us enough of a living wage for us to survive, at least pay us not to do this shit." And then allegedly, because this man is innocent until proven guilty, though he is facing a slew of charges. Like they are trying to throw the book at him and make an example of him. He's facing both state and federal charges. And if you live in the Ontario, California area, please register to vote so they can call you to be on the jury. Because we got to let them out. Okay, like jury nullification is a thing. Yes, there's video of him allegedly setting fire to these pallets of paper products. Y'all, that could be anybody.
Look, there's videos of pigs killing people all the time, and they get off. So I feel like,
it's facts. And I also just want to highlight, right? So let's be clear, Kim, you're saying this story got a lot of attention. I know I saw it. I didn't see this other story anywhere.
Exactly.
So this story where there's a bunch of property destruction, right? So a bunch of toilet paper got burned. No one died, right? If I'm correct, no one died.
Correct.
Someone was found, has been picked up, right, to have done it, right? And all these charges have been thrown against them. Compared to the situation where a human being died, many other people were traumatized by having to see and work around this person who had died. And Amazon put out a statement, said how sorry they were that this happened, that they were, making grief counselors available, and there will be no charges. I have, what I'm saying, like based on everything I know about, I have to assume there will be no charges, right? And and that'll be the end of it. And you're not going to hear about it, right?
Right. And is there going to be any investigation to determine if it is the actual conditions within that warehouse that led to the death of this person, right? Like, the heat curtains or the pace at which they're required to move, or no one is going to question those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one's gonna look at that and say, like, was this a contributing factor to the loss of this person's life?
Right.
And I agree, Kim, like, this alleged situation of complying with your other name, I feel like is, I'm here for it. Like, there has to be a point where people stop simply just going along with the things, right, because they just go along with the things, right? And
Evans. Evans, can you put your Google fingers to work? Can we show the picture of the video of the warehouse just for context, everybody? Yeah. When I say this man burned this shit to the cinders, okay, he burned this shit to the fucking cinders. And I've seen some additional reporting about Kimberly Clark, which, by the way, shocker, has engaged in deep patterns of wage theft over long periods of time. Outright robbing their employees, stealing from them. So, couldn't have happened to a better company.
Right.
There you go. And the only thing I will add, just to, again, make these connections, right? Because we are victims of this capitalist state in many, many different ways, right? In the same way that they're never going to link this person's death, who is 46 years old.
Which is crazy.
This person's death, right, in this warehouse under these conditions. They're never going to link that to the conditions they're working under, just like they didn't even link the knee on George Floyd's neck to his death, right?
Right.
He's supposed to have died from an overdose or from whatever else, right? So And again, right, these are deaths that do not need to happen, that are caused because of capitalism, because of the system that we exist under, right? They're just being extrapolated, right? These cops protect the state, protect property, right? And killed George Floyd because of it, right? So we have more of an extrapolation now of this company causing this man's death because of the conditions he's put under, et cetera, right? But just as it's that obvious with George Floyd, it is also that obvious here, and those connections will not be made, right? So do just want to kind of clarify that, right? And also just what Comrade Kai put in the chat a while ago, this is constructed, right? This Amazon warehouse, shout out to Kai. It's also very intentional as to why the workers are siphoned and stationed where they are and away from other units. It helps control movement, prevent lingering, communication, and organizing, right? So this is done very intentionally on purpose, right? In the same way that our communities are broken apart and isolated and colonized, right? So that the cops can target us more effectively, you know, similar to this, right? So just want to highlight that, make that connection. Let's watch this thing go up in smoke together.
It's been a long time.
Starting at the middle because it's where the video gets good.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not gonna pay us enough to live or afford to live, at least pay us enough not to do this. Here goes your inventory.
Shocking video posted to social media showing someone lighting pallets and pallets of paper products. We're talking toilet paper, wipes, paper towels on fire within the Kimberly-Clark warehouse here in Ontario overnight Tuesday. Our team spoke with a worker who says he was with the man in the video just about 10 minutes right before that fire started.
Look, I just met him that night. From talking to him with the 2 hours I was working with him, I didn't see this coming at all. Because, if he had the ability to snap that, do all that stuff. This makes me think, what else he could have done.
You was all right.
They always pick the person saying that level of dumb shit. Like what else he would have done? He waited until the warehouse was empty and he burned their shit down. What are we talking about right now? What are we talking about right now?
Well, people do shoot up the workplace. I mean,
but he didn't do that.
No, he didn't.
You know what I'm saying? It's like they found
what else could he have done?
Right. They found the person who's like, oh, what else could he have done? He did what the fuck he was going to do. He burned that allegedly. Ontario,
California, get on your juries. You be checking your mail for your jury summons, because again, we got to free them all right, everybody got to get free, and let's make sure that we get our folks on the jury to help facilitate that.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. It's wild. Air Doctor's back.
Air Doctor's back. What's up, Air Doctor?
Ain't nothing. I ain't know if y'all needed a break. Y'all can keep going. Sound like y'all can keep going.
What time is it?
We got 20 minutes.
Oh, 20
minutes. Got like 20 minutes. So I'll leave it to y'all. Y'all need a break? No? Yeah.
I think we all right.
Good. Say less.
Please like the video, everybody. Subscribe. Black Liberation Media. If you want to support us, go on over to patreon.com/Black Liberation Media, and or go and get your merchandise. Ooh, wait a minute. Do I got some merchandise? What's this? Y'all see this?
Nice.
Ooh, there we go. Is the mug big enough?
Look at it compared to my head. Like, I got a big head, by the way. You know what I'm saying? No, I mean for context, yeah. That's available. BLKLiberationMedia.org. Get your ginormous coffee mug that also doubles as a blunt instrument. If you had to knock somebody upside the head, I think this could do the trick.
So we have some weight to it. You know what I mean?
Can I tell y'all a story about people? People are getting fed the fuck up. Shout out to the man's, did we had to do at the Kimberly-Clark warehouse. There was a story out of Indianapolis. So they are in a data center fight out there, right? As is the entire country. Apparently, the whole country's in a data center fight. Well, this particular council person voted in favor of the data center, and then someone shot his house up and left him a note and said, stop voting for that fucking data center.
No.
Vote again for that goddamn data center and see what the fuck gonna happen. Now, I disagree with America being loaded down with guns, but since we have guns, put them to good use.
I mean, I guess that's one way, but did they really
shot his house up and left a note?
And left notes.
Left a note.
Wow.
But people's fed up, y'all. People is getting fed up, and I think that we're going to see instances. I mean, I don't count this as political violence, by the way. I understand that this was an elected official's home being shot at. It had everything to do with that data center. All right, like he could have been on the board of supervisors for all the person probably cared, but everybody sees literally everything being stripped away, right? Your ability to provide a livelihood, your ability to actually be housed, your ability to have insurance that you are mandated to have, or else you get a outrageous fine and are penalized. Like, people are being broken, and they are going to start responding in these ways more so, I think.
Yeah, speaking of data centers, man, that algorithm shit, man, your phone is really tracking the shit out of you. It is so crazy. The fact that I stopped and scrolled and seen one little person being a little violent in a fight. Every other thing was fights. I was like, God damn. And then I went to a store, just went in the store. I ain't even buy nothing. Next thing you know, you see an ad for the store. I'm like, God damn, these motherfuckers is on your ass.
No, seriously, we need the people, like all y'all smarts out there that know how to toggle the shit on and off in your apps and in your settings. Like, no, come up here and handhold the aunties and the uncles and tell us how to minimize the amount of information that we're sharing to Apple, Google, etc. It's not a cure-all, but we don't have to help them all the time. Track us.
I mean, it's kind of, there's definitely things you can do to mitigate, but at the end of the day, right, like, you have a listening device that the government can access that's on your person, and there's no way around that. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with my partner here, and and one of us looks at our phone and immediate advertisement related to the thing that we're talking about, right? And so, like, I mean, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? We're organizers are out here trying to, use technology, right, to the best of our ability, right? We have, different apps that we leverage, right? But at the end of the day, all of this stuff is compromised in one way or another. So I think we should be just kind of prepared for that and thinking about that more broadly when we're thinking about mitigating.
Auntie Kim, somebody says clear y'all's cookies and cache. I don't even know how to do that.
For that.
Cash is actually how that's pronounced.
Cash? Why did they put an E on it?
It's French.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with cache. But anyway.
Touche to whoever said that. Thanks for the suggestion. I don't enable the cookies. I'm that person. I'm constantly having to enter in all my passwords all the time because I refuse to let Apple. No, you don't need to know my goddamn password, Apple. Nope, don't save it, don't remember it, don't know shit. So I don't even know if that does anything to the person who made the suggestion, but I hear you. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Look, I learned something new. Cache is another word here, Doctor. Thank you, B. Brittany.
It is.
You should do a double.
I was gonna leave you alone.
That's why I come here to learn. That might be the word of the day now. Let me go look it up.
You gotta do cache so you can figure out.
There we go. So wait, while we're talking about AI and these data centers, this actually came up on my feed today, and I thought it was very interesting. Missouri town fires half its city council over data center deal.
Really?
Residents of a suburb turned out in droves to unseat 4 incumbents just days after the council approved the development agreement for a $6 billion data center.
Ooh,
so
where in Missouri?
It's Festus, Missouri, Festus. Festus.
Yes.
Unhappy with the city council's approval of a $6 billion data center, struck back at the polls last week, ousting all 4 incumbent council members running for re-election.
All right.
A city of 12,000 people along the Missouri River. Backlash same day. Voters in Port Washington, Wisconsin, a Milwaukee suburb where tech giants Oracle and AI are building a $15 billion data center, also registered its vote by overwhelmingly passing a first of a kind referendum to restrict future products. So So this is something that I think is interesting, and I'll have to. This just came up, and because we were talking about data centers, I opened the article. It's very interesting when you look at how these things work in suburban areas, right? So when you think about, so now this town, so we always have these debates about whether or not electoral politics matters and this, that, and the other thing, and why bother voting and this, that, and the other thing, right? So in these small suburban, probably white areas, I don't know much about Festus, but it's Festus, Missouri, so we're gonna take a guess, right? And so that this was the outcome, right? And so I want to utilize these types of examples as reasons that people need to be maybe a little more open to the idea that there can be a role for electoral politics as we're trying to navigate pushing for things that are actually going to have some kind of impact on the actual living material conditions where you are. And so I have to follow this situation in Festus because I don't know what was happening before, but I do think that if you have a town of 12,000 people and you have 4 incumbent city council members who voted for something and literally get ousted the next week, right? I think that says something. Now, are they going to be able to stop this? Because this is apparent, if it was just approved, there's been no building, there's probably been no sales, there's probably been nothing, are they going to actually be able to prevent this data center from being built? I'm very curious now about what's going to happen moving forward. And I would be interested in using something like this as a case study as to why, there could be some purpose for electoral politics.
So Festus is kind of in the if I'm remembering correctly, it's kind of in the exoburbs of St. Louis. Yes. And there was another town, and I can't remember, was it O'Fallon? Was it O'Fallon or St. Charles, Missouri, also in the St. Louis suburbs, where they were able to beat back a data center because, they got knowledgeable and rowdy, and they showed up and beat it back. So it's interesting that this data center got approved in Festus. Is that what it was? And then the council people got ousted.
Yes, they all got ousted for approving it.
And that's just what it seems to be happening, like with these data centers. If they get a block in one town, then they just go over to the next town, right? Mm-hmm. Like, in sort of kind of what's happened in PG County, where people, shout out to Sister Sheena and BAP showed up to let the elected officials know that no data centers in PG County, and then the data centers are like, oh, we'll just go to Charles County. We'll just go down to the next county. By the way, PG County, the sale of Six Flags Great Adventure Site, 500 acres to Kevin Durant, his group, and like another group, we need to be watching that because I have a feeling they're gonna try to use Kevin Durant to do some bullshit and sneak in a data center, because the partnership company that his group got with to make this purchase of the Six Flags site, this other group, they build data centers. That's what they do. Like, they build data centers, I think, in Georgia. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Y'all, why they're going to use Kevin Durant to do some bullshit here in PG County. Watch what I tell you.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I hear your point, Renee, around like how electoral politics was used in this particular case. And I think the way we've talked about this following, right, is part of the issue, right? Because this is not going to stop the data center. This is not going to stop the efforts of the data center in that area or in a nearby area, right? And I think this is the issue. And this kind of alludes to the conversation you had with FD over the weekend, right? There's a difference between like seeing electoral politics as the strategy in and of itself, right? And seeing it as a tactic, as a part of a broader organizing strategy, using this thing, right? But we're actually organized for something much broader than what this electoral body could even give us, right? And I think that, time will tell in this case, right? They wouldn't have gotten to this place if not for organizing, right? We already know that. But in terms of like where they're going to go, how they're going to continue to reconstitute themselves or organize themselves moving forward, right? Like time will tell how organized they were and how this strategy around electoral politics was actually positioned, broadly speaking, for them. I highly doubt that this was the end goal for them.
And it wouldn't be. And that wasn't, I was really just pointing to the curiousness of a town deciding like this is one of the paths that we're going to use to try and stop this thing.
For sure.
And so as the conversation around electoral politics continues to, it shifts, right, depending on who you're talking to. Mm-hmm. And I think what I'm more thinking about is how quickly people often dismiss electoral politics as a strategy and a tactic, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's not to center electoral politics as much as it's to recognize that there is a role that electoral politics can play within the work of trying to get something done, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, this is about to be a case study for me because I'm very curious to see like how this happens. When I was tracking the cop cities, there was an area in, I think it was like somewhere in Kansas City, I think, that they were trying to build a shooting range. Mm-hmm. And the town came out against it and they never built it. They obviously were going to try and go somewhere else to do it. But I, it was something that I followed because I was curious to see, like, did they find a workaround for this thing? And they weren't able to find a workaround because everything that they tried to do, the town was like, we're not doing that. And so it's very, for me, I'm very curious about the different things that people do in order to try and have an impact on their actual material conditions. And so it was more just the idea that half of a city council gets ousted because the town is actually paying attention enough to be like, oh, we're not doing this.
For sure.
Yeah.
And to your, I guess, earlier question, it is 86 to 88% white, that town.
Yeah.
So the way in which a town of mostly white people is allowed to organize.
Right. That part too, right? Exactly. Yeah.
Well, this is par for the course, as some would say. You know what I mean? I mean, if y'all don't understand what that means, just when you're playing golf, it's a certain amount of strokes you're supposed to take to get to the hole. So that means this is how it's supposed to be. Now, they always been figuring out ways to make more money off of us. Data centers, same thing. We're consumers here in the States, so they're going to continue to do it. With that said, thank y'all for constantly consuming the Remix Morning Show and rocking out with us. We are celebrating 5 years today at 3 p.m. In case you didn't know, we'll be doing that celebration, so make sure y'all come back for that. Yeah, there you go. It's a celebration. Evan, what's going on with this weekend? What we got coming up with the organizing and things like that?
This weekend, I don't think there's anything. I will highlight again PACA's platform on community control DC. Again, kind of tying it back to the situation we're in, tying it back to the situation that we need to be in, where we have control over our lives, right? And we don't have to go to some external electoral body to try and get something for our community. We can control our community. So I will just circle us back to that.
Okay. And Renee Johnston, what we got coming up?
So it's a little up in the air. So we had gotten in touch with the film group that did the short movie Hind Under Siege, which is a focus on the killing of Hind Rajab in Palestine, in Gaza. And so we were going to screen and have folks come on, and then things erupted between Lebanon and Iran, and they're Jordanian. And so I haven't been able to get in touch with them to kind of finalize things. And so, so we'll give it a little more time, just because I honestly, I don't even know if they're okay. And so we're, that was the plan. The backup plan, because Samantha loves me, is that Sam is willing to come on last minute. So I'm not going to try and, figure anything else out. Like, if we don't hear back from them, then we'll start our roundtable conversations with Samantha. And then we'll do that instead. So, but I do want to tell folks about real quick, since we got a little time.
Yeah.
Is we are screening Matthew Solomon's new documentary in Jersey. That's going to be on May 2nd at the Hub. For folks who don't remember, Matthew Solomon did the documentary on policing, reimagining safety was the name of it. We've screened it here. He's been on a few times. He and Donna, who is his executive producer, are going to be there. Moath Hamzeh, who's known as Mohams on all the various social media, because he keeps getting kicked off and like having to renegotiate his social media stuff, and Claudia are going to be on the panel after we screen. So that's going to be on Saturday, May 2nd. I think we're planning on having the movie start at 6 p.m. I'll drop the link in the chat for folks. And I'll keep reminding people that that's coming up, because I'm very, very excited. The documentary is very well done. It's excellent. So
nice. Will we see you around after 3 o'clock?
Yes, you will.
Yeah,
yes, you will.
Yes. Evan, before we get to Kim, you'll be working today, right? Probably most likely.
Every day.
Okay. Yeah, well, So what brought you to what turned you on to Black Liberation Media, since you won't be here for the 5th year anniversary?
What turned me on to Black Liberation Media? I will say Black Power Media because that's what it was when I found it.
Exactly.
To be real. I'm gonna go ahead and just give credit to Black Alliance for Peace, and by way of doing that, give credit to Dr. Sharice Burton-Stelly, Dr. CBS. Listening to podcasts, trying to kind of increase my own awareness. I wouldn't even say political education, because I was doing it by myself. I kind of came across Dr. CBS. She talked about her beloved organization, BAP. And I think through that, eventually I found Black Power Media, found comrades like Dr. Jared Ball and his work. And I would probably give most of the credit to them in terms of finding this platform. Okay. And it has been, I will say, indispensable for me, throughout like my own development. And I'm very honored to, share this space with y'all every Tuesday, because I do think the work that we're doing is important. Shout out to Jackie as well. When I moved to DC, she also was influential. But just to kind of give props to this platform, all the work that y'all have been doing.
Well, dope. Thank you for being part of this. We moving further with you here. Kim Brown, what's good with you?
I can't wait to come on and do Chaka Khan on Thursday. Because to be honest, I realize I don't know much about Chaka Khan.
Well, we're going to learn by Thursday, and y'all going to help us, chat.
Is Chaka Khan her government name? Is that the name you gave her?
Yeah, like how many people last name Khan? Like,
exactly. I'm sure there's many hundreds of thousands over in Southeast Asia last name Khan would be my guess. But
facts,
to
right?
Point,
Yeah. I don't know too many Black people last name Khan, but we're gonna find out. Come back for that 3 p.m. Will you be joining us also, Kim? Around 3 something? Yeah,
I think so.
Good. We got
that all depends. If Kamal comes, I will definitely come. So
Kamal's coming.
All right.
So I'll see you later today at 3. We'll see all y'all later at 3 today, hopefully, and we're gonna have a great time celebrating. And
Are you mixing, or are we just gonna be talking? Like, what are we doing? Are we just gonna be shooting the shit, reminiscing, or are we inviting people up?
Yeah, we're gonna invite people up. We're gonna have some play some old clips. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna let people drop in what their thoughts are and how we can move forward. That's the goal. So dope show. Make sure y'all come back. And we'll be back here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for Women's Wednesday right here on the Remix Morning Show. And make sure y'all tune in for that. We got some new shows coming next week, so everything is moving. With that said, this is the Remix Morning Show. I'm the Ear Doctor. That's Burn It Down, Kim Brown. That's Evan. And that's Renee Johnston. Peace. Y'all make sure y'all keep doing y'all thing out here, and we're going to do ours. Remix Morning Show. We out. Peace.
Black Liberation Media is a collective of Black and African organizers, journalists, academics, and media personalities serving Black and African masses seeking to further grow in their understanding of themselves, their histories, and the African world through entertainment and news. Please continue to like, subscribe, and donate to the channel so we can further serve you and liberate our people. You can also go to blkliberationmedia.org, get some merchandise, and also become a Patreon member and a member from the YouTube. Please do what you can, share, and show your love as we will show ours for you. Black Liberation Media.